What is good, everybody? It is time for the Dynasty Lunch Break. I am your host, Garrett Price. And man, it is Senior Bowl week. Lots of exciting news coming out, fun stuff to break down, discuss. So we'll do that a little bit today. But I got a little quiz for us today. A little Dynasty fantasy football quiz. Some of these questions, not too hard. Some of these are pretty tricky. So we'll see. Nick Take Jake says Harold Fannin Jr. equals David Njoku. All right, could we have an Njoku clone here? We'll see. Powerfold said he did not study for the quiz. Devin doesn't think he's going to pass it either. Crunchy Fries is here this morning, or actually at this point, afternoon. It is lunch. Country Time says Pickens and a 26-second or Devonta and DK. Contender wide receivers Puka T, Pickens, DJ Moore, Amari Cooper. Tried trading Pickens for 105 or 107, but no bites. I would take Devonta and DK Metcalf. I'm not convinced that Pickens is worth more than Devonta Smith. So I would much rather have that combo personally. Guys, I've been going through all of the running backs in this class. I'm not quite done with all of the running backs, but I'm getting close. This is a really fun class. And I even went back and watched a couple players because there were a couple guys I watched like right after I watched Ashton Genty, which is really not fair. I went back and watched some of these guys, and they got a little bit of a bump again too, because I think it was just hard to watch anybody else after him. But man, like Omar and Hampton moved back up my board a little bit. It's going to be pretty interesting. Good morning, GP. What's up? I know some people use that as good morning, good people, but I just assume it's Garrett Price. Odds that Warren will take over the backfield again, given the Steelers draft position and RB depth in this class, I would say slim. I think they will draft somebody in this class. Crunchy Fries, is this too much for Chase? Contender Lamar is my QB1 and Gino is my backup. Quarterback Superflex 1.5 tight end premium, start 10. Chase for an early first. Baker in 2 seconds. I would say I would want that and probably even more. I would say probably that and even more is what I would want for Jamar Chase. Price-wise, Daniel, I don't think there's a big difference between the two right now. I think you're probably going to be having maybe a second round pick between two. I don't think it's going to be much of a difference. Ryan saying, I saw a clip of you saying that RB regression is possible for 2025, but with the class that's coming, how do you think that will be in 2025? So the regression is more for individual running back numbers, and it's partly because of this class coming in. I think we could see a dip down in some of these top tier guys because I think we'll be seeing more backfield by committee this year. Fun to watch before I'm hearing 110 last year is pretty much 1-4 this year. Not far off, honestly. Favorite landing spots for Xavier Restrepo. Ooh, he's a very nice slot receiver. I could see him being a good fit. Like, let's say they wanted Jalen McMillan to be the number 2 and they moved him to the outside. I could see him being like a good fit in Tampa Bay for a slot receiver position. I would say the Bills, but they're all slot receivers. So I don't think that would make a ton of sense. I could see Tennessee maybe like with their first pick in the 3rd round, looking at a guy like him. I think that's a possibility as well. Country Time, would you take McBride over Devonta in DK? I would. And is this just a question answer for the most part? But we do have a quiz coming today. We'll be coming for a quiz. So Will Nerd Herd be adding bonus podcasts to the Discord or website, or maybe even the app? I'm having a very hard time accessing the bonus show on apps given. It's something we're looking into. It's just hard with our software to be able to do too much more, but we will see. So, curious thoughts on Olave for bearded Jebediah. So I've never been the biggest Olave guy. This team is probably going to be blowing it up pretty soon. If you have him as your like wide receiver, like late wide receiver too, like I'm fine with that. You know, you want to put him at 21, 22, 23. Like I think that's a fair range for him. With this coming class, I definitely would rather Tet McMillan. I don't know that there'd be anybody else that I would confidently want over him until I see the landing spots. Power forward with the loaded incoming running back classes. There are going to be a lot of disappointing rookies or veterans. Is everybody going to be lackluster because they'll be in timeshares? How do you think that plays out? I do think we're going to see a lot of timeshares this year. I don't think Gentile will be in one, but I think there will be a couple running backs that we like that are now going to be sharing a backfield with a rookie we like. And I think that will be frustrating. All right, let's get to the quiz. I promised a quiz. So get your pens and paper out. I have 10 questions. Some of these, maybe it's only there's a couple where you could get more than 1 point. There's a couple here where you could get more than 1 point. Now, I can't grade your quizzes for you, so you are going to have to grade them yourself. But feel free if you want some accountability, you can put your answer in the chat. It's kind of fun to see different people's answers and things like that. So feel free to put your answer in the chat. All right. Question number 1. And this ties into one of our most recent episodes. Which player at the running back position has never had a 10-plus rushing TD season? Which player never had a 10-plus rushing TD season? Is it A, Matt Forte, B, Melvin Gordon, C, Steven Jackson, or D, Noshawn Moreno? Which player never had a 10 rushing touchdown season? Matt Forte, Melvin Gordon, Steven Jackson, or Noshawn Moreno? Number 2, pencils are encouraged, but I will allow pens. It's not a Scantron, so we should be okay. All right, we've got a guess for Forte. 2 guesses for Forte. Okay, feeling confident. Which player never had a 10 rushing touchdown season? Matt Forte, Melvin Gordon, Steven Jackson, Noshawn Moreno. 3 for 3. 3 for 3. Jason says Matt Forte as well. We're either going to have a lot of happy people or a lot of very sad people. Either a lot of happy people or a lot of sad people. While you guys are finishing up that question, Vic says, Superflex start 11. Would you trade Brian Thomas Jr. and Darnold for Penix, 106 and 107? So in Superflex, 106 and 107, you're looking at like running back 2 to 3, wide receiver 2, or the top tight end in the class. I think that's pretty even trade. A lot of it really comes down to how do you feel about Darnold and how do you feel about Penix? Because I like Penix quite a bit. I'm still kind of lukewarm on Darnold. It all depends on where he goes. I think he's a system fit. I don't think he's a fit everywhere. So I would say I would probably go the Penix side, but it's close. My guy B Shell saying Gordon, if you're not adding receiving TDs. Nope, this is only rushing. And he said he just wants to go against the Forte folks. So, just to mix it up a little bit. All right. Question 2. I'll give you guys the answers at the end. Question 2. In 2018, of the top 5 quarterbacks, this shows you how much things change, even at a position like quarterback. 3 of the top 5 quarterbacks from 2015, this is total points on the full season, all 18 games. 3 of those guys no longer playing. 3 of those guys no longer playing. And by that, I mean retired, not necessarily backups or anything like that. 3 of those guys are retired. Name those 3 guys. And for each one you get correct, you get a point. Now, don't be the person guessing 7 different players. No, you get 3 guesses and you get a point for each correct guess. Block for your boy Williams for a year, so screw him. That's fair. That's fair. Andy says Alex Smith, Cam Newton, and Andrew Luck. Andy saying Alex Smith, Cam Newton, Andrew Luck. I like those. Some good guesses. Doing a monster today. Doing a monster today. I don't normally do a ton of energy drinks, but I was feeling it this morning. Garrison saying Manning, Rivers, and Luck. Vic going Ryan, Breeze, and I have no idea who the third one is. Saying RG3 could also possibly be in there. All these things are true. All these things are true as far as possibilities. Not true as far as they're all correct, because that is a lot more than 3. Jason going with Luck, Cam, and Brady. Luck, Cam, and Brady. So 3 quarterbacks of the top 5 guys on total points on the year are now retired. Name those 3. For what it's worth, the other 2 guys, Patrick Mahomes, and that's why I had to say retired, because this guy is not playing right now. Mr. Deshaun Watson was the other one in that top 5. So name the other 3 guys with Mahomes and Watson. Alan May and Boutte seem to be building a connection at the end of the season. Trend or Mirage? Lean toward Mirage, but right now, I mean, anything's possible in that receiving core. There's nobody that is established, but I think they get their guy this year, whether it's through the draft or free agency. All right. Earl of Sandwich, Luck, Brady, and Breeze. All right, here's the next one. Number 3. Here's a true-false question. True-false. Pretty easy, right? Keenan Allen has never had a 10-touchdown receiving season. Keenan Allen has never had a 10-touchdown receiving season. True or false? True or false? Sometimes I like to throw those in there. Daniel, I mentioned that a little bit ago. We're going to be looking into it. It's a little hard on the software that we have right now, but it is something we're looking into. Garrison's going true on this one. He's saying true that Keenan Allen never had 10 receiving touchdowns in a single season. And he's following suit. Jack, don't be giving away answers, Jack. Come on, man. Killing me, Smalls. Also, I don't think that's accurate. He had more than that. But still, giving away answers. Come on. All right. Next one here. Yeah, 8's correct. All right, you guys got a freebie. 8's the most he's had in the season. All right. You guys got a freebie. All right, here we go. Next one. This season, 2 quarterbacks had over 100 attempts in the red zone. There were only 2 quarterbacks that had 100 attempts or more in the red zone. This is passing attempts. Who were those 2 quarterbacks? A lot of teams run the ball when they get in the red zone. There were 2 quarterbacks that had over 100 attempts, passing attempts in the red zone. Who were those? Gibbs, Bijan, Vic. If I had to choose between those 2 players, it would be Bijan. Very close, but it would be Bijan. And this is passing attempts, guys. Passing attempts, not rushing attempts. I want to make sure I make it clear. Garrison says Stafford and Baker. Andy says Hurts and Allen, but I think he was looking at rushing because he said he heard that wrong. Jack, my bad. Forgot about 2013. It's all good, homie. It's all good. So we've got Stafford and Baker as the two guesses from Garrison, Hurts and Allen, and then just kidding. Drop the mic, Burrow and not sure. So he's going with Joey Biscuits. And then I don't know. We've got another Burrow and Baker, another Burrow and Baker and Darnold in this one. All right. Little variety. Variety's the spice of life, but a lot of Baker. A lot of Baker. Means a lot of people are going to either be very happy or very sad. All right, here we go. Next one. This is number 5. Maybe then I'll give you guys the answers through the first 5, and you guys can do a halfway scoring, see how you're doing compared to your fellow competitors and friends. Look, this show's about friendship. So competitors and friends. Number 5. Which running back, this season, which running back had the most red zone targets? Which running back had the most red zone targets? Daniel, where would I place Bucky? And this is knowing what I know now. I mean, probably at 2, probably just behind Genty. Just knowing everything we know, his situation, where he's at. Now, it would be very close. He'd be in a similar tier with right now Travion Judkins and Omari and Hampton for me, but very, very close. Sam going with Devon Achane. Jason following suit. Devon Achane is the guess right now, the leading vote getter for most most targets in the red zone. Because there was actually a tie for receptions in the red zone, but who had the most targets in the red zone? Garrison going Jones. I'm assuming that's Aaron Jones, not Chipper Jones, who was a great baseball player, by the way. One of my all-time favorites. Which running back had the most targets in the red zone this past season? All right. Get your grading pen out. You know, some of you guys might like to grade in red. You know, very, very severe type color. Which player never had 10+ rushing touchdowns in a season? You guys were correct. Matt Forte was the one that did not have it. Now, surprisingly, Gordon only had 2 seasons. Steven Jackson only had 1. And then Noshawn Moreno just barely had 1 where he clipped 10 touchdowns. All right. Number 2. You could get 3 here. I don't think anyone got more than 1, though, which is really interesting. I don't think anyone got more than 1 of these. So 3 of the quarterbacks that were top 5 in 2018, not that long ago, shows you how things change. 3 of the quarterbacks that were top 5, Matt Ryan was 2, Big Ben was 3, and Andrew Luck was 5. Matt Ryan was 2, Big Ben was 3, and Andrew Luck was 5. I saw Ryan on 1 or 2 of yours, and I saw Luck on a few. I did not see any Big Ben. Did not see any Big Ben in that group. All right, next one. Everyone got this one right. Free space. Keenan Allen did not have 10 touchdowns in a season. He never, ever, ever did it. I mean, it's still possible he could. I doubt it, but he could. Number 4. The season 2 quarterbacks had over 100 passing attempts in the red zone. Those 2 were Joe Burrow, which a lot of you got. But the second one was not Baker, which almost every person guessed. The other was Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes was the other one with over 100 passing attempts in the red zone this season. And then number 5, which running back had the most targets in the red zone? It was Aaron Jones. Garrison got that one. Devon Achane and Jones did tie for the most receptions in the red zone with 12, but Achane only had 14 targets, where Aaron Jones had 16 targets. So that's through our first 5 questions. You could have as many as, let's see, 3 for that one. So an extra 2 points, 7, 8. You could have as many as 8 total points through the first 5 questions. 8 total points through the first 5. So you get a point for each of Matt Ryan, Big Ben, Andrew Luck, and then a point for each of Mahomes and Burrow. All right, you guys ready? Ready to keep moving on? Let's keep this thing going. Let's keep the good times rolling, baby. Keep the good times rolling. All right. Number 6. In 2023, so only one season ago. In 2023, who had the most passing yards? And Garrison, you get to give yourself 4 to 5 because there are extra options to those questions. Extra options. Who had the most passing yards in 2023? Who had the most passing yards in 2023? Got to vote for Tua. Sam Howell. Yeah, buddy. He was up there for a while, honestly. Who had the most passing yards in the NFL in 2023? Yep, last year. So we've got another guess for Gino, one for Goff, one for Tua. So we're all over the place with our guesses on this. I like it. I like it. Most passing yards in 2023. All right, next one. Who was the only tight end? Who was the only tight end that was not named Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, or Travis Kelce to have 100 targets last season? This is in 2024. Who's the only tight end not named Bowers, McBride, or Kelce to have 100 targets this past season? Only one outside of those 4. Of those 3. There's one other guy that eclipsed the 100 target mark. So on our last one, we had Goff, Gino, Tua, some guesses. This one, we've got 2 guesses so far for Jonnu Smith. 3 guesses for Jonnu Smith. Will this be like the Baker one, where everybody got it wrong? Or will it be like the Forte one, where everybody got it right? So it'll be interesting. Do you think Jordan Love will return to form next season? Yeah, I think so. He was battling through injuries most of the year, in and out. Vic also saying Smith on this one. Who's the only tight end not named Kelce, McBride, or Bowers to have 100 targets? All right, this one should be a pretty easy one, I think. This next question is probably the easiest one. Kyle going with Zach Ertz on that one. All right. Who was the number 1 guy for fantasy points, total fantasy points for the full season at running back? Who was the top guy at running back for full total season points. It means all 18 games or all 17 games, 18 weeks. Who was the number one point getter? I said this was easy, but there was some shuffling and jockeying all season long between a few different guys. So, who finished number one when it was all said and done? 2 guesses for Gibbs. 2 Gibbs guesses. Who was the number one guy in total fantasy points at the running back position? This is PPR, for what it's worth. This is PPR. All right. Aiden going with Barkley on this one. So a couple of Gibbs votes, Barkley vote. All right, we'll see. Number 9, this past year, Jamar Chase had the triple crown, which means he led the NFL in receiving yards, receptions, and receiving touchdowns. Not an easy thing to do. So we've got a lot of Barkley guesses. So Gibbs and Barkley, a lot of that's all the guesses for the other one. Who was the person that got it previously? So who was the last player to get it before Jamar Chase? So Jamar Chase did it this year, led the NFL in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. What player did it before him? Got some Cooper Kupp guesses. Got a nuke guess. Who was the player to do it before Jamar Chase? Jamar Chase did it this year. Who did it before him? Last one here. In 2013, this player led the NFL in receiving yards despite only playing 14 games. In 2013, this player led the NFL in receiving yards despite only playing 14 games. Okay. Somebody was just talking about it. All right. The guesses for this one: Moss, Gordon, Moss, Gordon. More Gordon. In 2013, this player led the NFL in receiving yards in only 14 games. In 2013, this player led the NFL in receiving yards in only 14 games. Got a Megatron guess here. All right, you guys ready to score them? Sorry, Powerfold. Sorry, my guy. That's right. You can go back and score it. Got a guess for Julio, Megatron. Got a lot of guesses on this one. All right. I'm going to go back because I know some of you guys missed the early part. So I'll ask the question again, give you the answer. Julio, Jordy Nelson. All good guesses. Which player never had 10-plus rushing TDs on a season? Matt Forte, Melvin Gordon, Steven Jackson, or Noshawn Moreno? The answer to that was Matt Forte. Number 2, 3 of the 5 top quarterbacks in 2018 are now retired. Who are those 3 guys? Matt Ryan, Big Ben, Andrew Luck. 3, Keenan Allen has never had 10 TDs in a season. True or false? That is true. He has never had a 10 touchdown receiving season. Number 4, this season, 2 quarterbacks had over 100 attempts, passing attempts, that is, in the red zone. Who were those guys? Burrow and Mahomes. Number 5, which running back had the most targets in the red zone in 2024? That was Aaron Jones. All right, so that gets us caught up. Now, these are the ones we have not scored yet. Who led the NFL in passing yards in 2023? That would have been Mr. Tua Tagovailoa. I still get his last name a little weird. Number 7, who was the only tight end not named Bowers, McBride, or Kelsey to have 100 targets in a season this year. That player, you guys got it unanimously, Jonnu Smith. Who is the number 1 running back in points this season? This one shifted a lot. A lot of guys moving in and out of the top 5. Derrick Henry was up there for a while. Bijan got real close. Saquon Barkley had it for a lot of the season. But on a monster week 18, Jahmyr Gibbs ended up taking the crown as the number 1 running back in fantasy football this past year, PPR. Last Triple Crown winner, you guys were all over this one, Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp was the last Triple Crown winner. And then the last one where we had a ton of guesses. We only had one correct guess on this one. 2013, this player led the NFL in receiving yards in only 14 games. That was Mr. Josh Gordon. James, I'm sorry, but I did say the full 18 weeks. I even said that when I asked the question. So I made it very clear. If you don't want to count it, that's fine. There's differing opinions on that, but I did say that when I asked the question. So yeah, it's Josh Gordon was the final answer. So you could have had as many as, let's see, you would have gotten an extra potential 3 points. So 13. 13 is a perfect game. Garrison did pretty well with 9. Did anybody top that? Anything over 7 is a pretty solid game. Anybody top 9? All right. With that, I have time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions before we get out of here. I'll pick 1 or 2 more questions, and then I have to go record the Nerd Herd podcast with my guy, Rich Dotson. We got to do that right after this. So Garrison missed the 2 QB questions and then question number 4. All good. All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions, then you guys have a great, fantastic rest of your week. And we will see you guys again here next week on the Dynasty Lunch Break.